So no brand today. I'm actually going to be doing the accuracy test, and that is going to be on 115 grade Norma FMJs. So just regular factory ammo, nothing special. Kind of see what kind of groupings we get at 25 yards. All right, 6 shots. I pulled one, but go ahead and see what those look like. Downrange at 25 yards, and we look at the target, honestly pretty good grouping at 25 yards. Obviously, if you want to get really deep into it, most of defense cases you won't be shooting this far, but it's good to know that if you did, it'd be pretty accurate. This was done on 115 grade Normas. We didn't have the defense rounds with us today, but as you can see, I did have one little flyer. That's a skill issue, my fault, so not the gun's fault, but honestly about a maybe 2-inch grouping max diameter, seems like, at 25 yards. Pretty solid from the TTI Combat.
Woo! 194 Alpha Charlie.
There you go. 262 with a 146 reload.
197 2 Charlies.
458. There we go.
Perfect. That is a 255.
196 2 Charlies.
So these optics are basically the same, but there are some differences between them. As you can see here, that one is smaller than the other. So the C is going to be for full-size guns, while the K is going to be for compact-size guns. And next is the reticle. The C features a 3 MOA dot with a 32 MOA circle, and the K only features a 6 MOA dot. And lastly, the C features an RMR, while the K features an RMSC footprint. So getting into the features of the OSIGHT C, it has a very large window to be able to pick up your sights fast. It has a side battery loading tray, so you're able to swap out your batteries without having to take the whole sight off. It features an RMR footprint. It has a 3 MOA dot with a 32 MOA circle. It only comes in red as well. It is made out of 7075 T6 aluminum. It has 10 brightness settings, 2 night vision, and 8 daylight settings. It has a low power indicator, and it has a memory function, so when the red dot turns off and goes to sleep, you pick it back up and it's right back on the same setting. And getting into the battery life, on brightness level 3, just the dot is 100,000 hours. The circle 40,000 hours, and both circle dot is gonna be 30,000 hours. The OSIGHT C has an MSRP of $179.99, while the OSIGHT K has an MSRP of $159.99. And quick disclaimer here is that OSIGHT did send these 2 optics out to us to review. They are gonna have a sale coming up here soon on the 15th. You're gonna get 20% off both these optics on their website and on Amazon. We are gonna reconfirm 0 on the OSIGHT C. We're about 800 rounds in. We're gonna see what the 0 is at 25 yards. Let's go down and go check it out. All right, guys, here is our 0 at 25 yards. So this is gonna be 4 here, pretty tightly packed in the center. It's gonna be about 1 inch apart. These 2, I know I did pull, so I did throw another one, so a total of 6 now. After shooting about 800 rounds plus through this sight, it held 0 pretty well. So next is gonna be our pros and cons list. This is gonna be after our experience of 800 rounds. This is gonna be more going over what we do and what we don't like about the optic. So the first pro being price, with the OSIGHT C coming in with an MSRP of $180. You really can't beat that price point, with this having a direct competitor being the Holosun 507C with an MSRP of $365. And that is almost double the price point of the OSIGHT C, and I can get the same performance out of the OSIGHT compared to the Holosun. And what I mean by performance is that this OSIGHT did not hinder my performance while shooting out here on the range. I do own the Holosun 509T, and that is going to be a little under $500, and I got basically the same performance with this cheaper red dot. Does that really mean that it's less reliable? No, we actually threw 800 rounds through this optic. It held 0, and the optic screws held in place. So next pro is going to be that it has a side battery loading tray. So as you guys know, is that we did a review video over the OSIGHT X, which actually had a top mount charger to charge your Optic. Well, now people are saying that they're having issues with the rechargeable battery that's already built into the Optic. So now they actually have to send their whole Optic back because they have a broken battery. For this one, you just need to pull out your battery through the side and put a new one back in and you're good to go. So moving on to the cons list, the first one being that it has an open emitter. So you're going to be sacrificing weather conditions over a bigger sight picture. If you are interested in getting the closed emitter, OSIGHT does offer the S and SE. We do have a review video out on that. If you guys are interested, go check that out. The next con is going to be that it doesn't have a lockout mode for the brightness level settings, meaning that if this was going to be my EDC and it was inside of my holster and I'm clicking the buttons by accident super duper low and I need it during the day, I'm not going to be able to find my red dot. So last con, but not technically a con, is that this dot is relatively new and it does have a short track record. For example, the OSIGHT X, which came out some time ago, users are now having issues with their battery not holding a charge or charging at all, and they have to resend the Optic back to the company. As for our OSIGHT, after 800 rounds, the emitter has not bled at all. It's held 0 and we haven't had any battery disconnects or flickering whatsoever. So who's this Optic for? I would think this Optic's for someone that's balling on a budget but wants something that performs just as well as its direct competitor, kind of like the 507 C that costs double the price. I really do like the big glass window it got going on here on the top. I compare it to my EPS carry, that's a lot smaller window. This window is really big to be able to acquire my sights a lot quicker. I think that is a pretty big performance gain for myself. But other than that, I do like how cheap it is. If I was to start out into red dots, I definitely would get this OSIGHT C. But yeah, I do think it's a solid Optic and I'm happy to know that it's able to hold up 800 rounds and hold 0.
As for my thoughts of the OSIGHT C, so far has been good to us. 800 rounds, has held 0, no emitter bleeding issues, so that's pretty good for given its price. So let's imagine this is your EDC, and instead of the OSIGHT C, we have a Trijicon RMR, and that's $800 Optic, mind you, and that does not have a side loading battery tray. You actually have to remove the Optic every time you swap the battery, and every time you remove the Optic, as you know, and as a responsible gun owner, you need to re-zero your gun. And since this is your EDC, you won't be able to carry it because you won't be able to reliably rely on what your Optic's telling you. So not only can you not carry your EDC, now you have to go to the range and re-zero it. And of course, re-zeroing, you gotta use ammo, and that costs you more money in the long run. So if you get an Optic such as the OSIGHT C with a side loading battery tray, not only is it saving you time, it's also gonna save you money. I would highly recommend this to people getting into their first EDC especially.
So that is it for our review over the OSIGHTs. If you guys like what you saw, please like, subscribe, and hit the hype button as it helps us with their YouTube algorithm, because YouTube is a little anti-gun and it helps others find our videos. And if you guys had any questions about the OSIGHT or any other optics that you guys like us to check out, leave them in the comments down below. And with that, we will see you guys in the next one.